This says we're live.
We are live, and live. What do we got now, my brother?
What's this? 60 episode 68.
68.
Yeah,
All right.
that's a fair share of episodes, guy.
Yes, so we're trucking along, bro.
The 68. I'm trying to. There's no math questions with 68 in that guy. Just 67 plus one. That's it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't divide by anything or anything like that, eh?
I mean, it's a square root
Of what?
8.
You were doing homework again, yo? You're stupid, guy. How's your Tuesday going so far?
I'm ready.
This guy's kid. What was it? What grade is he in? Grade 5? He's in grade 5 doing the maths, yo. He's putting the wrong numbers together.
That was grade 5. 3 years in a row, right there with that answer. Yeah, man. My Tuesday was good. Just work. Plow through some haircuts. Try to make people look as good as I could.
Now that I think of it, how sometimes the universe.
Mm-hmm.
I saw you posting pictures today. Now, I don't know how often you post pictures or if you post them live or anything like that. I know some people, they don't like to post when they're in a place so people don't know where they are. But
Right.
But I mean, you post your haircuts in your shop. But today I saw... You see how the universe works, right?
Yes.
Right? Isn't that amazing?
Yes.
That your number one your number one like design
canvas.
Yeah, your muse.
Yes.
That he was in the shop today.
Yes, that's right.
That's crazy, right?
Yes, coincidence.
Yes, just like that.
Yes, last week we had the coincidence with the gluten-free bear.
Yeah, right.
And now this week, today, we have a new coincidence.
It's always a coincidence, it seems like. Is that because, like, we'll tell the people the coincidence then.
Well, today I was cutting my favorite canvas. This is a young man that allows me artistic freedom whenever I'm cutting his hair. And he is of the Clarke lineage. And it just so happens that today is the day that I cut his hair, and today is the day we have his uncle on the show.
That's wild. Did you guys plan that? Is that like...
Could you imagine? Could you imagine?
I mean, it would make sense.
Planned that?
Yeah. It wasn't even in the notes. We didn't even put it in the notes or anything, guy. Like,
you know what? I didn't even think of it until you just said it.
Well, because sometimes
I might have thought of it earlier in the day.
No, did you? Probably not.
No, well, I mean, I'm like, hey, you know what's happening later? You know what I mean? But even just right now, as you mentioned, like, oh shoot, yeah.
Did he know what was happening later? Or you were only thinking, did you ask him? Maybe we can get a retweet from the Utes, man. The Utes got a lot of followers, probably, eh?
No, you don't want that retweet. Not from him, man.
No?
No.
You get all wild and crazy.
Yo, he's a tough cookie, man. That little man there, man.
Nah, man, you just give him a noogie, a guy, and he's done. You ever give him a noogie?
I can't cut his hair and give him a noogie. I got to cut his hair. You come give him a noogie. That's how it works. You know what I mean? That's like me being a dentist and then knocking on the people's teeth. Like, I'm not coming back here.
That's a silly guy. Denise Jojo, good evening. Fave, what's up? Static in the house. Look at this, man. There's pure Clarke boys in the building tonight, no? Jeez. That's wild.
So how was your day today, my brother?
Oh, it was a little. I had to wake up early. I got first world problems today. I had to wake up early. I had to go to the office during rush hour. Stuff like that, man. It was wild. Yeah, man.
Rush hour, eh?
Yeah, well, I experienced rush hour for the first time in a little bit. I mean, it's rush hour to downtown Hamilton, but rush hour nonetheless. Like, the mountain accesses were a little slow today. I hadn't been out at that hour.
Something that you're not used to.
Yeah, I'm not used to cramped. I was cramped when we were all up in the boardroom today. Cramped in the boardroom today. Presentations. I haven't done that in a while. Like real world stuff. I've done it virtually, but I haven't done it in office in a while.
So you create your presentation at home and then you go and deliver.
Razzle dazzle. Yeah.
Are you're awesome at this?
I mean, I don't know. I'm all right. I know how to make a number sing. I guess I know how to make that data talk.
Okay. No, I'm not familiar with the concept of presentation.
Yeah, man. You just let the numbers do the talking, man.
Yeah.
It's like the Matrix. Give me some raw data and I'll turn it into like a nice slide with a story and stuff like that.
And then you deliver
that
story.
Shit. I'm a spinner.
You could be a doctor.
I don't know about all that, man. Clearly, at some point I turned left on that one, but maybe tonight we'll figure out the correct way or the map, the little map, and talk about that a little bit.
You have an interesting weekend at all? Anything spicy?
Nothing too crazy, man. Just spicy. I see what you did there.
Yes, I did.
Guy, you're all like you. Yes, I thought I was the segue guy and stuff like that.
Yes, I did. Spicy. We'll save spicy for the doctor. We'll save spicy for the doctor.
He'll break that down for us.
We'll ask him if he can, for sure.
You think? I mean, as far as I know, he's an avid Raptor fan. I think it even says so on his in his website and stuff, man.
All right.
Oh yeah. So, look at this. Channel 9 is raining. That's what the thing says. Bling bling up in the place. Bling bling up in the place. Oh wow, there's like 34 people. Wow, what a nice guy that DJ Channel 9. Cool it now. Good evening, Miss Sylvia. All right, party's about to start now.
Okay. LL, what up with you? T-Dot.
That's me, man. No?
Oh, I read that wrong. Tadao, what up with you?
Chris Cali, good evening. Wow.
Cliff, what up with you?
Everybody's on one today. Everybody, everybody coming in,
Cooling now. What up with you, Miss Sylvia? What up with you?
There's lots of people here, man. See, I told Dr. Clarke real quick. He asked me, hey man, you guys get like more than 5 people yet on your show? And I was like, maybe today we get 30 because Dr. Clarke's here and we're gonna have like an interview.
Mm-hmm. All right, so this is gonna be like a proper interview.
I don't know, man. We don't do proper well.
No.
But
we're gonna try, or we're just gonna let it flow.
We just do real, man. We just do real. We let conversation.
All right.
Before I tell these people what this doctor made me do before he came on, guy, I had to write an essay of questions and stuff and things like that. It was great. I will send people like pre-show, like we got time markers we gotta hit and stuff like that. It's wild.
DJ Channel 9, what up with you? Thank you, Surf. Thank you for the raid. That is music in the break room. The precursor to Pizza in the Break Room. Thank you, Channel 9, for putting on the show, getting everybody warmed up.
Yogi Check, good evening. Thank you for the sub. Foxy G is in the break room. A hype train is wow. We don't do look. See, I told Dr. Clarke, man. Hype train. You know what?
Hype
Big
train.
Up everybody early. Yo.
All right then.
This is wild.
Much appreciated. Much appreciated.
Oh, it's good evening. See, it's because Channel 9's here, man. Anyways, so this is again what episode? 68.
Episode 68.
And we have Dr. Hance Clarke on the show today. I think that's correct, right? That's his name, Dr. Hance Clarke.
I mean,
I got a couple names for him, but we got to keep it proper. We got to keep it proper. This Dr. Clarke, everybody who is on the show today goes way back with Fitz and I. So we've seen Hance do many wonderful things for a very long time. We're going to talk about it all today. What are we talking about today, Fitz? Do you remember what we wrote down? We're talking about?
We are going to talk about the Raptors. We're going to talk about Spicy P. Anything else?
Maybe some doctory stuff, eh?
All
maybe?
right, cool.
Maybe a couple doctory things
right,
we
cool.
got going. Static, big up on the bits. Everybody, we about to start this show. Dr. Clarke will be right with us.
Pizza in the Break Room, episode 68. Grab yourself a slice, make yourself comfortable. We'll be right back.
We here now. We here. Yeah. It's in the break room, y'all. Holla, holla, holla. Woo! Oh,
Good evening, sir.
How you doing, boys?
Doing well. Is that a black and gold jacket?
That's one of those OVOs.
Oh man, this guy's upper echelon, man.
So I came to represent you guys. I just hope that Exy has better math skills than your co-host. That's all I have to say. That was jokes, man.
Big up to you, sir.
Yes, big up to you, sir.
If anybody in the chat, cheers to everybody. Thank you for being here tonight. Oh, yes, X. Yeah, it's ironic. It was interesting. Oh, look at Tadao. I think Tadao is talking to you. He thinks we're ready to go tonight.
All right. So are you saying that the square root of 68 is not 8?
8 times 8 is 68 last I checked. But
I like this guy.
But the best was, does anything divide into that? 67 plus 1. That's the only thing that gets us to 68. I'm sorry, but that was good, man. That was howling. That was good.
Oh, yo,
I know my nephew knows. I know my nephew knows that the square root is 68, bro. I have no doubt. You don't have to noogie him or anything.
No,
Fitz, you're good. No, you're good. You're good.
There's a man I need on my team without a hiccup, without a hitch. The man said, "Yeah, the last time I checked."
When was the last time you checked is the question.
It doesn't matter.
Anyway, let's progress from there. I have faith in you guys. Come.
No, we'll do our best. Oh, see, he's ready for us, man. So, all right. I read in your bio that you're a big Raptors fan, sir.
Something like that.
Yeah, and it says day one Raptors fan. So what do you think about the current state of the Raptors? Because I know my co-host is going to be very interested in your answer here.
Yeah, well, I think we're a 50-win team. You heard it here. We're going to get 50 this year for sure. Do I think we're going to win it all? No, we're still not there, right? We still don't have that number. Your Spicy P comments, I mean, he's great, but he's not an all-star. He's not going to get the respect. And so we're going to fall short. But,
holy moly.
You know. But we're a top 4. We're a top 4 team in the East, and that's where we'll sit.
Everybody, put Spicy P in the chat just so that the doctor knows that he is the spiciest player in the league.
He's spicy.
He's spicy, but he's not the spiciest. See, he knows this guy. We're talking to a doctor here, man. This is a doctor's review of the Raptors.
What we do see what's happening right now is that yes, it's only like 8 games in, 7 games in, but he's been putting up uncomparable numbers.
No, he's doing great, man. So what did he do last? Him and they were both tied together. Him and was it OG or no? It was Scotty. Him and Scotty had 18 at about the same time, and then he put up 30. I think 30 plus maybe last night. The man's playing well, but look, we beat Philly one night. They have no Embiid. They come back and they outrun us and they outplay us, right? So I think it's going to be one of those things where as we progress through the season, we'll be right there. Come playoff time, we still don't have that person like we did with Kawhi that'll earn the respect of the refs, right? Simple as that. Spicy's not going to do it.
Okay. Did you watch the game last night?
I did. I was there. It was great.
This guy's in the first row, guy. What do you mean? Like, look at this guy. Yeah, at half court. Half court.
Okay, so since you were there, then you obviously seen that Spicy was being spicy.
No, it was Scotty running the point, man. That was the difference in the game.
He got a lot of foul calls. If that continues,
I mean the refs. That was one of the few games the refs actually were kind of bipartisan, right? They didn't just kill us and cut us off. They were actually pretty fair last night.
Right. That's kind of one of the things that even though we don't get these calls, Spicy always seem to find a way to perform well and put up good numbers regardless. And last night seemed to be one of those nights where he was getting calls, which assists superstars in inflating their numbers. Right. So if that continues, if we happen to start getting these calls, like Spicy P starts getting these calls, we're well on our way.
Yeah, I mean, I think it just depends on the flow of the game, right? So, basketball is a game of runs, boys, right? So we had the first run. We were up 12 at half. Cleveland had the next run. They were up on us, I think, for a minute in the third. Then we had our run, and then we kind of shut them down. So those runs are also dependent on how the calls go, right? And so you can see, they can stop a run, they can keep a run going. And so, the problem is we're still an outside shooting team. So when you start out the way we started out, licking threes by the seconds, you're gonna get a run, right? When the playoff comes and they start hunkering down on you, you don't have that space to shoot threes. That's where we start to struggle, right? I mean, that's how we won our first championship, to shoot from the outside and win.
A little bit, right?
Yeah.
This guy just wants you to say the Spicy P is the best. And until you say that,
I don't need it. I don't need it.
Listen, your boy Dima says it was a great game, so he must have been watching.
Oh, man. The Raptors are playing all right. You know what? They're playing all right. It's just,
dude, we're a top 4 team in the East. No one would have predicted that 2 years ago. We thought we were going into a complete rebuild. So, in Masai we trust.
Always in Masai we trust. That is very, very true.
So is that your first game of the season, or you've been a couple already?
Been to a few already, bro.
Nice. You're there every night?
Not every night, but been to a few already.
Okay.
We're like 5 games in, guys. Like I went 4 or 5. 4 or 5. 80%. That's not bad.
Well, I don't envy much in my life, but I do envy a man in a gold and black Raptor jacket that goes regularly.
No, it's fun, guys. But you gotta build to get here, right? So I mean, I didn't just walk into this, right? So I'm privileged. Life is good. Happy to spend some time with you guys and talk about the Raps and have a good time.
Wicked.
Foundational. These are the foundational moments, man. This is why I get to actually have these moments and chat with you guys and do this shit. This is fun.
Make me feel special sometimes, Dr. Clarke.
What are you drinking? Better than any grand rounds. What am I drinking? In honor of my dad, who we're going to Caribbean tomorrow to put to rest this weekend. This is the Johnny Blue. I just finished it in honor of being on the show. So it is now empty.
Cheers to Mr. Clarke. Cheers to Father Clarke.
Cheers. There's a picture right there. I brought the props.
There you go.
There you go. There's the props.
There you go.
That was the wedding day many, many years ago. So I
crashed your wedding, man. That was
I don't think you crashed it. I think you were.
No, I kind of crashed it, guy. I kind of crashed it. Everybody, I remember that. I kind of crashed it. I was there. I was kind of invited, but it was the best. That was a great wedding, man. That was fun. How long ago was that? That was like 2020.
1999, bro. Long time ago, 1999.
That's as old as my daughter, man.
Claim to fame. Across the page when they launched that Antigua Life magazine from Tyson Beckford. I remember that. Yeah, I remember that.
Explain this to me.
Listen, we had this professional photographer from Miami fly into Antigua. And she put this spread together for like Antigua Life, so like the tourism magazine for the island. And so I wish I could say it was just me across from Tyson Beckford. It was me and my beautiful wife, and he was on the other side of the centerfold of the magazine. So that was my claim to fame. Never been in a better place than that ever in a magazine ever again.
So it was an advertisement for Antigua.
It was an advertisement for Antigua,
and
so
you were one of the
as Bennett said, it was quite the wedding to be at, bro.
That was a good week, man. That was a fun week. All right, so way back in the day, you talked about 2 things already. So you talked about privilege and being able to do some of this stuff, which is good. And now we're trying to bring you back in the day. So let's talk about 25 years ago, Dr. Clarke. You're still. I remember we're back in the day. We're partying. We're having fun. I met you. You had just finished school, right? An original school. But to me, that seems like a lifetime ago. So when you say I'm privileged now, right, and you look back then, like what do you think about those days and in respect of where you are now? Like what do you think about that? Foundational, I think you used the word earlier.
Yeah, bro, those were the best days of my life, man. Those were fun times. I was an undergrad. I was at Western. I was running the Caribbean Students Organization. I was giving King Turbo their first parties. You guys were at all those parties, guys, like Brenton and and your other boy. You guys know all these guys, all your boys that would come through. So Dane's, Brethrens, like everybody comes through all those parties, you know, doing the University All-Star Tour with Baby Blue, the first parties we ever did, selling out Fed Hall, putting things across the country, you know, putting some cash under your mattress on every night, and I'll say paying bills for all you degenerates who are drinking off the bar, and
see how he treats us, guy.
Specs of the boss, Specs was there, you know, all those guys were there doing those parties, man. Those were some good times, and we were all at the start of our careers. It's great to see how all these guys have made it. Like, you know, Specs, you know, Scratch went off, and he's now a mega star, and you know, all these other guys, Carrie and you know, all these other DJs are doing their own thing, and it's great to see, man. It's great to see how we progressed, and now we're center stage. Now we just get more control over some of the center stage, and keep things like you know, stable for the generations to come.
How did you get into like that? How did you get into entertainment or promoting at that particular time?
Oh, I think it was just, you know, I'm a social guy. We're social beings. And once I got to CSO and I started becoming like the sports coordinator, I never was the president, but I was the guy who ran all of the events and things like that. And so because I had links with a couple particular, and what was his name? Oh man, foundational. Who's the King Turbo man? Oh, I can't remember his name. Not Suspense, obviously. Suspense we all know now. There's a guy before Suspense. Oh, it'll come to me. I'll bring it back in the podcast. And I ran into him, and you know, I was always a reggae guy at heart. At the end of the day, and so once we got to CSO, it just all fit together. And so we started throwing these parties, and once Western hit, and once it was really the Baby Blue influence, right? So once we did the first University All-Star Tour, we took it across the province, and that's how it became big. And that's when we landed in Caravana and did that floats. And the year that all the big bands boycotted, people don't know that myself, my brother, some of you guys, we all ended up 8th in the parade. Go back and look on that. I think what that year was. We're listed as the 8th best band in Caravana. We never built a costume before that summer, but it was a great time.
Yeah, and sometimes you just like, not that I forget about that stuff, but when you really look back, like all those parties with all these DJs that we're watching on Twitch now, or going to, you know, celebrations of it, like those are the people running through those jams, and it's actually crazy when you think about it and put it in hindsight, because somebody sees you now, they probably never remember that stuff, or not even know that was.
The DJs do. So like Jester knows, all those guys know, but I think the younger generation don't know. The Espinays of the world know, like all those guys. Like Espinay was my flyer guy. People don't know that, right? Like he used to drive flyers out, right? And now he's the man, right? You know, and he deserves it. He worked hard for all he's done. He's been in the industry. He's now growing the industry, bringing attention to, you know, Black entertainers in Canada, and doing his thing. And it's great to see all the progression, right? And I see DJ Che LaSoul. Good evening. There you go. So Che,
Big up, Che.
Look at Che. He's a man who has a following like no other right now, right? So this is just a progression of you know, all of the things that happened 2 decades ago.
So when you went to was it Western, you said?
Yeah.
You went with the idea of what it is you were going to study, or did you decide?
Yo, guys, come on. Everybody who comes from the Caribbean, what did they know? Doctors or lawyers. That's all my parents knew. You need to be a doctor or lawyer. I think, I'll be honest with you, all I knew were the Huxtables. You ever see any Black people on TV until the Huxtables came on TV?
Nah,
so there's one doctor and one lawyer, right? And so that's all they knew. If I could go back, there's lots of other things I'd do. Like, anybody tell me about how much money an investment banker makes? Like it'd be next level stuff, right? And so as you progress through life, now I love what I do. There's nothing else I would want to do right now. If you gave me a couple other options, yeah, maybe I might make a turn left or right. But you know, happy where I am. But there are lots of other things out there. But to answer your question, that's all I knew. One of the two. Luckily, I figured out how to land in this medicine space, and it came with a lot of, you know, experiential learning. And so one of the things is you got to know everybody around you. You got to know not just your community and your people. You got to know all the other people that you don't necessarily want to know, and figure out where those exams are coming from and how you figure out the information you need to know. And so, you know, this is a big environment you have to learn from, and you have to be a social person to be able to figure out some of these things. And I think that's where some of our peeps get stuck.
So I guess Very important. Everybody sees the Dr. Clarke that's on the show today, but how about you tell us? If somebody says, "What do you do, Dr. Clarke? What's your intro? What do you tell people you do? What type of doctor are you? Like title? What I don't know how all the letters work, man. So you tell people.
Yeah. So why don't we start before I tell you who I am to tell you where I came from, right?
There you
I
go.
was born in St. Vincent. I was born in the Caribbean, and my parents came here. My brother was 2. I was 5. We grew up in Scarborough. We started in Trudell, right? They were throwing people in the garbage can and down the chute, right? And so ended up. No, these are I got held up with a pin. I was such a scaredy little kid. Somebody put like a safety pin in front of me, and I gave him one of my lunch or something. I don't know. This is how you progress, right? So ended up, went to high school at St. Mike's, and then ended up at Western, and did my undergrad in physiology psychology. Then did a master's at U of T. Eventually got into med school, and I'm now an anesthesiologist. I graduated my anesthesiology degree. Man, I'm going to age myself now, guys. You're killing me. 2008. I finished my PhD in 2012. So I did my combined training and my PhD at the same time. And for the last 12 years, been running a big research program looking at chronic pain in particular in Canada. Become a key opinion leader in the opioid space, and definitely in the cannabis space, which I know my boys like to hear about. And and so you put all of that together, and you land. Bennett, that was for you. And you land and you land where you are now. You can see how things like it's really a journey, right, guys? And so I'm a PhD, MD, anesthesiologist, run a research program, and getting a lot of offers to leave Toronto and go elsewhere and all kinds of things right now, and build other programs and things like that. So those are some big decisions ahead.
Yeah.
Just for the record,
as a whole heap.
Just wow.
Yes.
Thanks, boys. No need for applause. You got to work to get there, right? It's just sometimes, and you got to have lots of breaks and lots of luck along the way, right? So we're gonna have to go to gold because the blue is done. But I don't know if that's proper for the audience, but
proper. Wow, that's more than proper for real.
What's it called? We have a good friend of ours, a good friend of chat. He says my prescription ran out, by the way.
That's not a problem. I'll just get a referral over to me.
Oh boy. All right. So real quick. So you mentioned opioids, Hance, right? So I guess when I talk to people, I don't know this in depth, but when I talk to people, it seems people have differing opinions about the impact, what should be done, what can be done. So I don't know. I guess from your perspective, this is what you do. So what are is it that there are a lot of misconceptions or changes, like opioids in general? What is it that you're pushing towards or driving at right now? How does that work?
So I'm sorry, I just gotta laugh at Dr. J is the other doctor we know. Hail him up.
Big up Dr. J.
So back to the opioids. So here's the deal, guys. I mean, it's such a complex issue, right? Opioids, clearly there's all this stigma about having companies that have pushed these medications, and there's one drug in particular. So what are the types of opioids? I'm going to just list some names here. So you got codeine, you got morphine, you got oxycodone, you got fentanyl, you got tramadol. Like all these things have opioids in them, and the one drug that we know, and here's the deal about an opioid. If you take an opioid, you have one of 3 reactions, guys. And one reaction, what I have is you take it, you get sick as a dog, and you puke your guts out. Second reaction is, oh yeah, it kind of helps, takes the pain off, like takes the edge off. And the third is like, holy shit, this thing feels great. And so if you land in that last bucket, you're gonna have a trouble with these drugs. And the one medication that we know had that biggest effect was oxycodone and OxyContin in particular. And so the company knew that, everybody knew that, and they just kept pushing it. And so a lot of people got addicted to this thing, and we're dealing with issues as a consequence of that. And they pushed a lot, and it was really, taking care of pain. So pain was important. Pain wasn't really being appreciated. And so it was, we need to take care of pain, which is now the 5th vital sign. And we needed to just continue to treat people until they had no pain. The issue and the problem is you can't take people's chronic pain away. You're going to live with it. You own it. There's no cure for chronic pain. Right. And so what happened was people ended up on these insane doses, falling asleep, driving through red lights, killing loved ones, all kinds of things. Like, you know, people talking to you falling asleep mid-sentence, and clearly they were on high doses and doses that were too high. And so now we swing the pendulum back because we're going to fix this crisis, because the medicine and society in general, they just literally, there's no middle ground, there's no common sense. There's no balance. It's always, we're going to go from one extreme to the next extreme. So they swing back right now where we are, with no one can get an opioid. No one can actually be seen by a doctor because family doctors won't take you if you're on an opioid, all these things. So the issue we have really is that these medications have been around for a long time. There is a absolute use for them. If you break your leg and you break your femur, that big bone in the middle, you better get an opioid. But there's people having discussions, well, we can't give you this medication because you might become an addict. And the fact is, the percentage of people that become an addict from taking this in an acute pain appropriate scenario is less than 3%. And so we're changing policy and changing things based on kind of assumptions that aren't actually factual. And so, you know, the folks that go on to have these problems probably have a big history of trauma. They've either been sexually abused as a child, they have, you know, physical abuse issues, they have, you know, they're in abusive relationships. All of these things that kind of play into their issue in terms of developing a problem with these drugs. So if you have an anxiety problem, if you have a depression problem, if you have PTSD, any of these things all set you up for problems. And we don't actually ask all of these questions before we actually start prescribing these drugs. So it's a complex issue. It's swinging from left to right, and it's something that, you know, I'll be honest with you, I got reached out by the federal government today to talk about a policy. I'll share it here. There's only, there's 40 people now. So I'll share it here because there's you know, there's really going to be a statement released that they wanted me to look over and stuff like that. And I think it's accurate, right? So what are thoughts on mushrooms? Somebody wants to know about shrooms. That must be Paul over there.
So what's the big change now then? So people, was it literally you're understanding it more? You said something about the way that you address it. So like, is there a big thing that's happening? Is there a push, or is it still in the learning stage?
Oh no, it's a huge push, man. So I'll tell you, in the US, when they released these guidelines released in 2016 that basically said, if you're on these drugs, you gotta get off from, or you gotta be tapered from them, right? And so what happened is this massive wave of forcing people off these drugs, which led to increased suicides, which led to you know, people moving towards the illicit game. And here's the premise that all of this was built on. It was built on, people are taking this stuff, we're all dying, and so you got to cut it out. And the fact is, as soon as they took OxyContin and oxycodone off the market, what happened was it opened the door for all this illicit stuff, because there's now this gap to be filled. And this overprescription that they talked about from the physician perspective, well, kill the overprescription, this is going to go away. Well, clearly it's not going to go away, because you have these people that are taking these medications. So if you take it away from them overnight, they're going to find something else. And that's what happened. And so now you have all of these illicit drugs, and, you know, there's all kinds of, I can get into world politics in terms of, you know, where it's coming from, whether it's coming from Afghanistan or it's coming from subcontinent of India, and how it's getting over here and all of these things. But now you can go online and order things and you have no idea what's coming through. And people are taking like veterinary level opioids and things they're buying online. And so just for the people that are here, if you see a tablet that says Oxy and it says Oxy 20, 40, 80, it ain't Oxy. They don't make them anymore. But if you look at any newspaper article that talks about an opioid, the first picture you will see is an OxyContin tablet. So if you know anybody and they show you that they're taking an Oxy, you let them know that if you're at a pill party, I tell my kids this, do any party but a pill party. Because if you're at a pill party and you see an Oxy in that bowl, you take that it's more often than not going to have fentanyl in it, right? Because they don't make them anymore. And so they put that little wrapping, little bow on it, because that's an OxyContin, because everybody knows what it's supposed to do. It'll take you to that point of not breathing and not conscious. But if you tip over to not breathing, you're in trouble.
So fentanyl is fentanyl was initially used as a pain reducer?
So fentanyl, listen, I use fentanyl every day in the operating room if I put someone to sleep. So I do pain and I do anesthesia. So when I do anesthesia, almost everybody I put to sleep gets fentanyl. It's one of the most potent respiratory depressants you have. that basically, if I stick a tube down your throat to help you breathe, it's very noxious. Your body doesn't want something living in your trachea. So I got to give you a drug that's going to blunt any of your nervous system response to be able to do that to you. So I give you fentanyl. If I give you that and I'm not putting a tube down your throat and you stop breathing, guess what? You die. And that's exactly what fentanyl is. It's a very potent opioid that has a big respiratory depressant effect, meaning it just makes you stop breathing.
So people are using that as like entertainment?
Well, let's be clear. People don't know that's what they're getting when they're buying this stuff, right? So they're anticipating they're buying an opioid, but what's being laced in these things is fentanyl, because it can tip you to a place you've never been that people actually like, right?
Oh, but then just the amounts that are put in aren't
right.
If you're an addict, you'll probably survive it. If you are someone who's just dabbling or trying to tainted pills, I see that in the chat, but so if you're trying to get something to supplement something, doing whatever, you might just get too much and be tipped over, and you see it all the time, and batches aren't made the same, etc.
Wow. Question here.
Is fentanyl always used for intubation? More often than not, yes. It doesn't have to be, but exclusively it is quite commonly used for intubation, yes.
Huh.
You need to tell all your kids this. Do any party, but not a pill party. And if it looks like an opioid, run.
Do any party, but do not do a pill party.
Well, maybe don't do any party. It's your judgment on which parties, not which parties, but pill parties.
Words from the wise from Dr. Hance Clarke.
Oh man, no, but I mean, it's funny. It's the way that it helps people understand it, right? Like I'd never heard such a thing before, and it's a way that somebody can make it sound real, I guess, too, right? Because like I said, as I'm hearing about fentanyl on the news or whatever on here and there, it doesn't sound like that. It just people just like try to make it sound very scary without the education.
Well, they don't connect it. They don't connect it to reality. They don't connect it to actually what's happening on a daily basis, right? And so when you get that call where 5 people died last weekend in a party in Markham, Ontario, in a garage because they were all out there doing whatever, the fact is you don't know that that's just the middle class person who went and bought something from somebody who laced it with the wrong drug, gave too much, and they're dead, right? And so and that's why when you start dancing in that kind of illicit opioid space, you're playing with fire. But even I'll be honest with you, you just if anybody has kids and they're out there buying stuff, they better know the source of what they're buying from. They shouldn't ever be taking things from people they don't know. You can lace cannabis with all kinds of things. You can lace any drug with anything, right? So it's a tricky space, right?
Wow. So your position right now, in I guess in the country,
in the
world. So you are, what do you do? Are you an advocate for opioids? Is that
good question? So that term advocate, I'm never an advocate for anything.
Okay.
What I am is a person who wants to ensure that we have safe use of medications for Canadians, and we make policies that actually make sense so that the general public can understand them. And the policies we make are reactionary. They don't necessarily always make sense. And so I don't advocate for cannabis. I don't advocate for opioids. What I do is I say these medications have a purpose. Let's figure out where they can be used, and let's do the science to back the fact that they should continue to be used and become mainstream. And so unfortunately, if you want to tip into that space, at Canada, we had the biggest head start, and your viewers aren't going to like this, in the cannabis space until we recreationally legalized cannabis. And that was just
say that again, please.
And so we had the head start as a country in the world in terms of the science and the medicine associated with medical cannabis. And on October 18th, 2018, whenever it was that we legalized cannabis, we lost that lead. And so we basically made recreational cannabis completely ubiquitous and available for all. And who are the highest consumers of cannabis since that date? The 18 to 25-year-olds, not to mention your 15 to 18-year-olds that are consuming cannabis at rates that you have not seen in Canada. And so we had an opportunity to not make that happen. we didn't do it. So let's see what happens to our GDP and our population as that unfolds over the next 10 years. I don't know.
So why is it, you think, then, like, what happened? Why is it so quick, so widespread? I guess.
Well, we have a prime minister who wanted lots of tax money. Guys, we have a $7 billion cannabis industry. Let's be clear. That's what it was predicted to be in 2014 before it launched. It's there, but the issue is it will surpass that in years to come, right? So now when you look at the medical aspect and bringing that in, and the companies that can build out these other products, there's no margins for these companies anymore in that recreational space, and so it's gone to zero. But the beneficiaries are the consumers, and so consumers can buy weed anywhere they want, anytime they want. And so the recreational market's happy, but the science behind it and its medicinal uses on my end, we lost that opportunity. And so what's happening
okay, what does that mean? Like, so when you say you lost the opportunity in the medical space because of the recreational availability, how does that affect whatever it is that you are trying to achieve? All right,
so let me pose you a question, Fitzy. How many people do you know that are using cannabis for anxiety, sleep, pain, you name it, and you don't know any? Okay, so I'll tell you there's lots. Go ahead.
Like, I personally don't know anybody that's using cannabis for pain or anything like that, right?
So bet it.
I think one, maybe. Okay. Specific, like that's been prescribed it.
So what is lots? What are your peeps there says lots?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll tell you that anxiety for sure, very common use, right? And sleep, absolutely. So when I used to prescribe, even before it became recreational, no matter how I prescribed it for pain or for whatever, people always said, "Oh, this thing helps me for sleep," right? And so they would grab it, especially if it's a THC strain, right? So it's going to help you sleep, guaranteed. And so the question you asked in terms of why, once it became recreational, then any and everybody can start to use it and gravitate and get this stuff. And so now physicians in particular get to be in a position of, why would I ever authorize this? But here's the thing, it's right, she's self-prescribed. Paul, yeah. You've been self-prescribed for decades, bro. But let's be clear. What your peeps there don't know is, if you get an authorization from me, you get all your money back at the end of the year from Mr. Trudeau, because it's tax refundable, right? If you have a medical reason for that authorization. And so this is stuff people don't know. Okay, so yep.
So am I also understanding that whatever research that, so for instance, before everything got allowed for recreation, whatever research that might have been happening, so you prescribe something to someone, and all the prescriptions that have happened within the medical industry, you guys can take that data and make like whatever assumptions or numbers you need from it. But now that it's recreational, people don't necessarily need to come to you to get.
Well, exactly. We don't have a way to actually regulate some of that data collection, right? And so people are doing their own thing. And I'm not against people doing their own thing, but when you're buying, and so actually I want to focus on this question. What do you think about vaping and the ventilation syndrome it causes? How dangerous, right? So, I'll tell you right now, and I'll be honest with you, because I'm a key opinion leader in the country, I have lots of companies coming after me in Europe and South America to talk to me and things like that. I have some of the biggest tobacco companies out there coming after me. And I will tell you, the minute I go and dance with one of those companies, I lose all credibility, right? So that's something that I keep kind of away from the spotlight. But I will tell you that the regulations that are in place to protect the public for things you inhale from a tobacco perspective, pale in comparison, in that the cannabis industry can put anything in your mouth and you can inhale it at this moment. And there is going to be a pop can blown off that industry that is going to happen in the next year or two. And those vape pens that are oil-based, please, if you really value your lungs, you shouldn't be smoking. Get the bud, get the flower, vape it. Do not use oil-based vapes. They can put anything they want in those. And the ventilation syndromes, those were real things. They stopped those companies. They shut down a company in BC that keep it idle. So they shut down those companies in BC that were putting vitamin E. And what was that vitamin E? It sounds good. Let's put vitamins in our vape pen. What they were finding in these dead people were this vitamin E coating those parenchymal cells in the lung, and you couldn't exchange oxygen because you had this coat of vitamin E staining your lungs. And so think about a tobacco company. Just say, oh, fuck, yeah, for the fun of it, let's just put some vitamin E in this next cigarette we put out because we can do it, right? There is a big catch-up to do at the risk of tax dollars to figure out what's happening in this cannabis industry. And so it's a lot. It's going to be an evolution still in times to come. So stay away from those oil vape pens, guys. It's going to kill your people.
So you say stay away from the oil vape pens. Go to the flower.
Listen, at least the flower, if you know what's in it, and you listen. I as far as I'm concerned, where this is going to move is to the orals, the sprays, the nebulized solutions, the edibles, all of these things where you're not combustibly putting something into your lungs, right? I mean, ultimately, as a doctor, that's the stand I have to take. And this whole notion that it's better than cigarettes, yeah, maybe. We don't know. We have no idea. So
what's better than cigarettes? The edibles or the
cannabis? No, inhale flower. Right? So, right?
Because you're just inhaling something regardless.
You're still inhaling something, right? So yeah, the data's not there to say that it's better per se long term. So we don't know.
Why did
I have lots of my patients that inhale.
Why did
they take off? Because you can put it into the market, right? They take off because the market likes it. The market wants to consume it. Look at the nicotine vape pens. Look at all these people like to sit there, do a dab, and do their thing. And so, just because they take off doesn't make them good. But that's all, to come, right? So I'm just foreshadowing what you will see in about a year from now.
That's crazy. So did COVID impact anything that you do in general? Like the industry, you yourself from any way, or is it kind of status quo?
I didn't see that question in your little pre-stuff. So it's a new question, but I'll tell you something. It's a great one, and here's why.
Okay, we'll see. I told you. We
there you go. So what were we telling people before COVID in the opioid space? What were we telling people in COVID in general? If you're going to use these things, make sure you use them in a group. Because let's say you take something and you overdose. You need to have someone around to give you some Narcan or some naloxone or all of these things. And so when COVID came along, what were we telling people? Stay away from everybody.
Stay away from it, yeah.
Be people. And so just so you guys know, from March to October of 2020, the number of people dead from COVID was 3 times less than the number of people dying from opioids, right? I think we only caught up to the number of people who were dying from opioids by March the next year when that wave hit us because we locked down so fast. And so when you look at the numbers over the past 3 to 5 years, we've had our opioid deaths increased 3-fold during COVID compared to pre-COVID, where it was starting to flatline a little bit because we completely changed the dynamic of people that were using these medications actually using together. So COVID had a big issue. On top of that, you lock people down, and when you have mental health issues, you have a chronic pain problem, you have an addiction problem, and you have no way to access psychology care, you have nowhere to access the group care that you were doing. What do you think is going to happen? I had 3 people kill themselves in my program in the first 11 or 12 months of COVID, and we were working on a research project, and our local research ethics board said to me, "I'm sorry, Dr. Clarke, your work has nothing to do with COVID." I said, "Excuse me? The next person who jumps off a building, I'm gonna email you, and I'm going to ask you if my work had nothing to do with COVID." And I completely traumatized the person I was dealing with. I had to go apologize to the head of the research ethics board. And I said, "I'm sorry, but you can't tell me my work has nothing to do with COVID when we're dealing with people's mental health that you're making isolated. And now we're having bad things happen to people." So it was a tentative time. They were, threatening to remove me from my position and stuff. But you have to fight for the people you're there for, right? And so I'm sorry, if these are my patients, I'm going to fight for them. It's just how it rolls.
Well, yeah, well, I guess that was a good off-the-cuff question, and so, geez, thank you for that answer, sir. I guess maybe one other question, just about, you talked about some of the stuff you did back at Western, CSO, and all that good stuff. So, from a doctor's perspective, how has that changed in our community? Like, how do you see it in the last 20 years? Are there more people from our community doing what you do What did it look like?
100%,
Yeah.
100%, boys. I mean, we're moving forward. There's no doubt. I would say that, when I luckily got into medicine and had to have some breaks along the way, and I'll tell you that the dean of medicine when I applied happened to be a woman from St. Lucia, and so I actually had the toughest interviewer when I applied for medical school on the day. Got the highest mark of anybody she interviewed, but her marks were so much lower than the norm that nobody she interviewed actually got it. And so they went and looked at that, and then she said, "Hold on, this guy got the best score from this woman, and we're not letting these. We're letting." And so she gave me an offer, and so that was pretty lucky, and that was my only offer, and that's how I got here. And so
breaks.
you got to take the breaks along the way, and you got to look out for those helping hands along the way. And they're not always the faces and the people that you think will be helping you. I've had some help from people that, just fortuitously came along and said, you seem like a good guy and here's my advice to you. And you just listen and you kind of roll with it, right?
That's awesome. That's awesome. Cause that's a humongous chance, but that's a life-changing chance right there.
Yeah.
Just for someone to look at the numbers, and see that you've done particularly well with someone who grades hard, which then gives you the opportunity to be where make your efforts, right?
Fitzy, I'll share a story with the folks here, even in my master's world. So I finished my undergrad at Western. I was thinking, where am I going to do my grad studies? I got 2 offers, and my undergrad guy at Western hooked me up with a person at Scarborough campus and a person downtown. And the Scarborough campus person was a researcher who did brain and behavior stuff in physiology and psychology. So she was in 2 programs. And the guy downtown was a massive name in the country at the time. And he was only in physiology, if I remember. And so I went and spent some time with the woman out in Scarborough. I won't name names because that would get kind of dicey. And so worked with her for a while. She said, I'd love to take you as a grad student. She had one kind of PhD student, and I started working with them. And then the gentleman down at U of T in the downtown campus wanted to interview me as well. He interviewed me, and he said, we're willing to offer you the position. I'm 20 years old at the time. And I said, I'm a man of my word, and, thank you, but no thank you. I'm going to take the offer that came from the person out in Scarborough, and so. And so the person in Scarborough happened to be working in a shared space with another professor. And I'd mentioned this story to the other people in the other labs and stuff like that. And at the same time, the Scarborough professor said to me, well, I can't really pay you what physiology would pay, which is about 16 grand a year. I can pay you like 5 grand a year. I'm like, oh, it's okay. You chose me first. I'm going to stick with you. I'm going to write it out. And so this other professor, don't know him, never met him, whatever. His students told him the story. He kind of plucks me out one day, and his students say, go speak to Dr. So-and-so. I walked up to his office, and he says, I don't know you, but, here's the thing, son. At certain times in your life, you need to sometimes make decisions that are best for you. He didn't give me any background specifics. He just said, I heard you got an offer from this guy downtown. There's nobody bigger than him. You should really think about what will give you the best opportunity moving forward. And so I thought about it. I went back and I was like, well, he's going to pay me 16K. She's going to give me 4K. She has one grad student. This guy has an army, a big lab, like millions of dollars. And so I called him up and I said, I want to rethink my, my decision to not take your offer. And I took his offer. Turns out that the undercurrent was the person offering me the job in Scarborough was a complete alcoholic. She hit on me by the end of the summer. Like, it was a complete mess. And so, you get those helping hands along the way, and you just have to listen and kind of just move forward. Right. So, it is just keeping your eyes open and just being kind and being humble and all those kinds of things. And you are treated the way people view you as opposed to necessarily who you think you are. Right. So always put your best foot forward is what I would say.
Super strong right there.
That is
super
good.
Strong. Always put your best foot forward, and I kind of believe in that mantra as well.
And Fitzy, you don't always win, right? So people always say, "Oh, look at you! You got it all. You made it." I said, but for every win, I had 4 losses, right?
Yeah.
And so,
but you're cool with the losses, knowing that you put your best foot forward, and that's really all that matters at the end of the day, I think.
even when you become like a staff, like I was, whatever, do you think that people handed me what I had? Like I got no's more than I got yeses all the time, especially early on, right? And so you figure out, okay, that's a no. Do I just crumble and go that way, or do I figure out how do I go around the no? Tactfully go around the no, find allies, do things that that can be helpful along the way. And so it is. But these are the strongest character trait of success is resilience. And so it's one of those things that it's really hard to teach. People either acquire resilience, and I don't think we give our younger generation enough opportunity to get that resilience because we protect them till they walk out the door at 18 and they're not ready for the world, and it's a bit of a quagmire. Whereas I sound old now, guys, but when we were 14,
is it because you said quagmire?
We were in the world figuring stuff out. And by the time we were 18, we knew good people, we knew bad people, we had sense around us. And I'm sorry, even my kids have no clue about the world, to be honest with you, until they actually went out and figured it out, right? So, and they're still figuring it out, right?
Yeah, and it's different with our kids because sometimes they just don't want to believe us, right? Right. No matter what, we could tell them anything, but at times it'll take somebody else to kind of spark them. Like that happened with you and my son, right? So I don't know, really quickly is my son was trying to decide what he wanted to do when he was going to university, and he kind of sort of thought he wanted to be a doctor. And, I give you, Hance, a hard time about a lot of things whenever we talk. You're the second best fantasy football commissioner in the world, and, I'll beat you in some sports and games. But
listen, you have one more trophy than me, but you're still not better than me. But keep going.
Yeah, I mean, it's right here. The trophy's here right now. It's mine on my mantle right there. Right. I kind of want to grab it and pick it up. But anyway, because I'm trying to tell you a good story about you is, at the end of the day, you have done good things and been a good example, because when he wanted to figure out what, I was like, do you want to talk to Dr. Clarke? And he was like, Hance? And I was like, yeah, like Dr. Clarke. And he's like, that makes sense. And I called you and I was like, you want to FaceTime with Quentin? Or sorry, government names, the boy. And Hance was like, just bring him to the hospital and we'll talk to him there. And I was able to bring my son to you to be able to sit there and ask you questions from like a real person, right? Like somebody he knows all his life. And we used to watch football at your house when he was a little kid in the thing, and to be able to, when he's ready to go to university, say, let me ask Dr. Clarke some stuff like that. That's something that I'll never forget. Actually, I think I've talked about it to you a couple of times, but like you being able to do that in the community is just amazing as well, and to be an example. So it's actually just another, I know I'm not supposed to clap for you at any time, but slow clap for you.
Listen, I appreciate that. And but that's kind of the role that I get to play now, right? And so, and I'm glad it was helpful for Quentin. And back to the question I think Fitzy asked in terms of, or maybe you asked in terms of where we are now. So there's more of me. It's not just me. For a time there was very few of people that look like us that were doing these things, and as things progress, this door is opening, and obviously the societal factors in the last few years are even opening more doors, and that's okay. It's time to open some of those doors and time to blow the pop stand off some of this stuff and kind of keep these doors opening. And so I think we're in some of those moments right now where it's actually a good thing, and it has nothing to do, and people love to talk about qualifications and stuff like that. There's lots of qualified people all the time, and there are just certain stratas and infrastructure that cause issues with some of these things, and we need to be able to educate ourselves and our generation under us to know how to deal with some of these things. And even I look at my son now, he's a Western, he takes some online course where he has no old exams, he has no community, and he gets 50%. I'm like, what are you doing that for? Like, I think I told you about this stuff. You got to know what you're doing before you get into this stuff. And we just aren't dispelling down this information. So I'm like, you got to drop it, man. You can't have a 50 and get into professional school because it's going to kill your average. And so these are the things that we need to actually dispel down so that our children can actually figure this stuff out.
We got, oh, there you go.
Question in the chat.
There you go.
Question from Denise Jojo, one of our moderators. Thanks, Faye, for being here. Is what is the most fulfilling part of your career?
Oh, I mean, that's a big question. There's so many parts I enjoy. I would say that honestly, the most fulfilling part, especially in pain medicine, and when you're dealing with people that have really significant addiction issues, or their life is really sideways, you can get an opportunity to change people's complete trajectory in life. And you will fail more than you win at that. But if I can do that to 5 to 20 people by the end of my career, and they will say, "You changed my life. You allowed me to have another 40 years of fulfilling, opportunities with my family, with my loved ones. I can now fall in love again. I can do all of these other things I could never do before that." That's a big deal. And so whether it's 2 people or 20 people at the end of this journey, I don't really care. It's been enough already that it's probably okay if I stop my career tomorrow. But the fact that I get to have that opportunity, if people, and there's no way to do that as a one-way street. You got to have it on both ways. Somebody's got to trust me, I got to trust them, and we got to do it together. And when you can get them to the other side, that's definitely the most fulfilling part. When someone can come back to you and say, "Thank you, you did this for me," and I get to say, "You know what? Rock on with your life. I was just part of it. I don't need any more accolades. Just that's why we're here for. That's why I started to do what I do." And that's definitely the most fulfilling part.
Sick. That is good. That is good. That's got to be super rewarding. I mean, even though you wanna say that, go on and do your thing, like you got to like lay back and kind of be proud of those moments as well, for sure.
Well, and I'll tell you, Fitzy, the most important thing that you learn when you start in this, and when you're younger, you want to save everybody. And the other thing is, you can't save everybody. People need to want to be saved to be saved. And once you learn that lesson, you could expend energy trying to save people, and if they don't want to be saved, you're just killing your emotional energy on that. And so people have to also get to the place where it's a reciprocal journey. And this is a lesson for even your own family and people around you. People have to hit that bottom and be ready. You can't save them on their way down. They got to hit the bottom to come back up. And I think those are some things that humans have a hard time doing. Watching that person over there, they know they're on their way down, but they're not ready to say they're there. And so anyway, I don't know if that was helpful or not. I'm sure lots of people are out there watching.
No, but it's
people
key. That's definitely key.
Through specific things, but and people say to me, well, why are you not so upset? And here's the other most important lesson in life: not much matters. There's always an A, B, or C to any moment in life. Unless someone is dying, not much matters. And so it could be the end of the world, and in your mind, this year, no, it's not. Because guess what? You wake up the next day and you get to pause and think about, what do you react, A, B, or C? But that takes a lot of experiential learning to understand how things really aren't that important unless someone's dying. And then you got to figure out, what your move is in response to what's happening. So anybody who's been divorced understands that. Anybody who's been through significant loss understands that. Anybody who's lost a job or was fired understands that. Really and truly, life always goes on. You get to decide how you react to A, B, or C.
Adults, we operate from a privilege of kind of knowing that, or have enough experience to kind of realize that not much matters. And not all of us as adults kind of experience that or understand that, but children or teenagers, that's a difficult thing for them to grasp, because
especially with the cyber culture, right?
Every single thing to them matters.
Everything matters. Yeah. It's crazy,
man.
And it's so enormous, right? I mean, it's a big deal. And you'll see, and this is the problem when your kids are unprepared for the world and they think they're perfect and they come through this protected cocoon, and you put them out into the world and they realize, hey, the world doesn't love me and I'm not as great as I think I was. And I failed this thing. And now I'm sitting on a bridge ready to jump off this bridge. And you're like, are you like, really? Like, just get back here, get home and just go chill in your room till you figure out that it ain't that important. And then you can figure out kind of what's next, right? Because it's not that important. You're 19, you're 18, you're 21. You can figure it out when you're 30. The key is to figure it out at some point in your life, right? And so the problem is everything is magnified to such an extreme degree when you're younger and you don't understand all of these things in the world. And listen, you think I wasn't the same in my 20s? Bennett, you remember me. I was a basket case. I was running around like a chicken with my head cut off, right? And so at the end of the day, we all have this knowledge to dispel down. It's how do we dispel it down, and how do we help those that we know around us? And mindfulness is big, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Anything. Listen, I always say to people, if you have a chronic illness, there are 3 things that will help you cope with your life. Yeah, you can come see people like me. I'll give you meds. I'll inject things into you, calm things down. Or you can do exercise, obviously, and physical movement will help calm your nervous system. And the brain is just as important as anything else. And so when you can incorporate your brain into settling down your nervous system, those are the people who really win any kind of chronic illness and be able to cope with things and move on with their life. If you're anxiety driven and you can't calm down that anxiety, you're toast.
Wicked.
So in this space, does like anxiety kind of make it difficult to diagnose or prescribe? Sorry, not diagnose, but prescribe.
No, what anxiety makes it difficult to do is to actually have an effectiveness, right? And so people that won't give up control to their brain because their brain is just a ticker tape all the time, they are very hard to help. And so the number one predictor of people that will run into trouble, for example, with opioids, with cannabis, with any substance for that matter, are people that haven't figured out how to control what their brain is doing. And it's easier said than done. I get that. But if you can help to put tools in place to calm your own nervous system with your brain before I start throwing meds at you, or at the same time, simultaneously, you'll be better off. But anxiety is one of the telltale factors of people that will struggle to get help.
That's wild. That's good stuff, man. All right, Dr. Clarke, we know you, or Fitz, you had something to say?
Well, okay. I was going to ask him this because
Go on.
Dr. Clarke is someone that a lot of young people could esteem to emulate. I want to ask you, on your journey heading to where you are now, was there anybody that you adopted as like a mentor, whether it be within your field or somehow somewhere in life, someone that you kind of used as like a model or whatnot, some sort of mentor?
Oh, wow. You want to go deep, eh? So I would say probably 2 or 3 people along the path, man. So I remember when I was 28 years old, and we were just talking about, this is going deep. We'll be careful. Part in my life where I just had my second kid and I couldn't figure things out, and I was given an ultimatum: you either find some counseling and go do your stuff and figure out your crap that you brought with you, or kind of this stuff is kind of done. And so I found a gentleman who was in his 60s at the time. I'm in my early 20s. He was a guy, listen to this story, Jewish guy. He went to Africa. He worked there in his 20s. He was learning medicine out of a textbook and doing C-sections on African women that were coming in that he had never been trained to do, by looking at the book and trying to open them up, take out the babies, and they were dying. Okay. So if you want to talk about PTSD, that's a way to get PTSD. He, at some point in time, you guys can probably Google this after, he also became the chief medical officer of Ontario. But before he became the chief medical officer of Ontario, he was also brought to a city in the US to become their chief of their psychiatry department, or he was like a family doc and psychiatry. So, and he had such a drug problem from all of his PTSD that he would literally take benzos and booze every night till he passed out. Until one night he passed out and his wife left him. This is all for real. Yes, for real. His wife left him. And then he came here and he went to one of the rehab programs in Ontario and worked his way up from that to become the chief medical officer of Ontario. I somehow got this guy as my mentor. And if you want to talk about wisdom and you want to talk about just listening. And so I did 8 years from 7 years, from 28 to 35 of weekly counseling, figuring my stuff out. And it was a journey. And so when I finished at 35, and I still do my counseling every now and again, because I don't date anybody now that doesn't do counseling or hasn't figured out their stuff, because that's a lifelong journey everybody needs, no matter how amazing you think you are, whatever the case is.
Right.
Everybody and your partner and your lover and whoever should never be your counselor. They're there to be your partner and you take care of each other. You got to sort your shit out with somebody else, right? And so these are the things that our community doesn't get, right? Because it doesn't exist. You're completely stable. Nobody need them things there. We're good. No, that's nonsense. And this is where we really need to start breaking down barriers in terms of understanding how you become a stable human being, and you actually can participate and be a partner and be a father and be all of these things, because otherwise you're taking out all your crap on the people around you. And the funny thing is, when you start taking out stuff, you take it out on the place you feel safest. And so you watch what happens in the world. You go into the world, you're treated like nonsense. You come back home, got all this pent up stuff, and you take it out on the people around you. Whereas you should be having someone you should be swearing at, telling them blah, 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 and they're helping you through that. So when you come home, that's all gone. And that it's stable now, and that you're in a place where you can actually, and that's where exercise comes in. So all this stuff comes in, right? And so, but these are the things that we just don't want to accept and look at, right? So the one mentor, I have another one as well, a Jewish guy who took me under his wing. The reason I'm so successful, we built a lot of my programs together. And so Kanye's gonna have an issue with me for sure, but it is what it is, bro. So, right.
Thank you for sharing, my brother. That was awesome, man. Thank you.
No worries, guys. But that I don't share that very often, so hopefully you're not replaying this too many more times out there. But it doesn't matter. At this stage,
there's only 10 people
good.
watching.
Well, there you go. But I'll be honest with you. At this stage, I'm where I am. Come get me. It's kind of one of those things, right? And so you just got to hold yourself and do your best. That's all you can do.
You know what? There's going to be no other time for this ever. No other time. There's no other.
Put the trophy back, man.
There's no other appropriate time for this, right? I'd just like to say there's these 3 spots right here are for the B-Town Prez, and then we got to put another layer on this Fantasy Football League 2001. All right, everybody.
Yeah. Wow.
This one right here says 2001. All right, that's a fantasy football league. I don't know Tadao. Was Tadao's name on that? 2008 Tadao. All right.
His name's on it.
But this, everybody, is right here. Hance and I are the co-commissioners of the Real Deal Fantasy League. And I'm going to hold on to this as long as I can. We're off to a good start. This year.
Listen, I have the lowest points in the league, and I'm still a playoff spot. That's called Jedi moves. That's all I can say.
You know what, Dr. Clarke? I had no 4, 5, and 6 this year. That's all I got to say to you, okay? No 4.
I drafted my entire team past round 11, so be quiet. The fact that I'm in the playoffs is still a miracle. Anson rejected my trade offer today, but that's fine.
Everybody get you. Everybody missed the train on static. We got to get on that. Anyways, Dr. Clarke, thank you, sir. We appreciate you for taking the time to come on. We know you got a flight bright and early in the morning.
Yep, bright and early. But I'll just say big up to you guys. I remember when you sent out the first couple of podcasts, you're sticking with it, and you've been on me to get on here, and it's been a journey to find a date to get on here. But I knew after a barbarian steak dinner and my dad's scotch, and I got to show his picture to end my exit. There it is. So yeah, appreciate it, guys. Happy to come back when you have 6,000 followers and do it again.
All right, before you go, I know you're going away tomorrow. I just want to. What is Rouge Valley and hyperbaric?
Rouge Valley Hyperbaric Medical Center.
What is that? What is that?
So we started. So this is how life takes you, right? So you start a journey. You run this research program. You have a job at Toronto General Hospital, and then you have a couple of people who say, "Look, here's an opportunity. Let's build a hyperbaric clinic in Scarborough, and let's do some pain medicine at the same time." That evolved over time. And so what people don't know, and especially our community doesn't know, is how many people's limbs are rotting off right now. And because of diabetes, and they develop wounds, and hyperbaric medicine is the mainstay of helping with wound care and helping rotting flesh that's just all over our city right now. And if you're in the east side of the city, that is an OHIP approved indication for hyperbaric. What people also don't know, hyperbaric medicine, there are 12 indications that the government will cover. If you have had prostate cancer, which is a big problem in our community, and you have had radiation and now you have a bleeding bladder, it's one of the best things hyperbaric medicine will help. If you have proctitis injuries or bleeding intestines from radiation, it's an amazing treatment. If you've had radiation injury to your jaw because you've been irradiated for an oral tumor, another excellent use of hyperbaric. And this is a big one in COVID, whether it's from the vaccine, whether it's from COVID, and you lose your hearing spontaneously, people still don't know that hyperbaric medicine, if you come to us within 3 weeks of losing your hearing, is completely covered by the government. It can help you regain your hearing. So there are all these things that are just, you are only at the mercy of the doctor you speak to. So do your research, do your research, make sure if you have something, you take a look at what those opportunities are, because there are lots of opportunities that are missed in society. So that clinic opened in 2015, if I'm not mistaken, or 7 years in. And it's a flourishing clinic that does hyperbaric medicine, and we built a pain clinic there as well. So in Scarborough,
that's part of your creation.
Yeah, I'm one of the 3 people that started together. So all 3 of us are anesthesiologists, and yeah, it's and that's where life can take you, right? So those are some of the other things that you have an opportunity to do once you start to do all of these other things.
Okay. I have one more question.
So I need to have someone manage my website. If any of your viewers can manage websites, no one's managing my website. Espinay created this for me 3 years ago, and no one is managing it. So come my way if somebody wants to manage my website.
You got to
talk offline about that.
It's a disaster.
Okay, right now, before you go, last thing. 3 albums that you can say define Dr. Hance Clarke as a person.
Albums, like music?
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, wow. Okay.
Artist, songs, albums.
Artist,
Sorry,
songs, albums.
I'm trying to help.
Well,
I'm trying to help you
okay.
out.
Yeah. Okay. So for sure, we got to start. I'll start with 2 artists for sure. And so you got to go with Prince and Beanie Man, right? So Prince is a legend. One of the most artistic men, women, whatever you call Prince.
Somebody needs to do a mashup.
That has
DJs mash that up. Prince and Beanie Man.
Prince and Beanie Man. So but it shows the juxtaposition, right? So one of the things I pride myself in is I can be in the darkest corner of a reggae concert, and I could be in one of the most hoity-toity kind of cocktail parties with whatever playing in the background, right? So that's Prince and Beanie Man. So you want a third now? Let's go with, of course, Bob, right? So I mean, there's nothing more powerful than his lyrics and his music. So those would be the 3 for sure.
All right. All right.
And okay, Buju greater than Beanie, sure, I'll give you that. But you can't mess with Buju. But the man did run coke and go to jail and all that stuff, and he did do it. But he got out.
He did his man.
Listen, one of the best lyrics. If y'all
he was just trying to distribute pain medicine across the states.
The lyrics in Trust are some of the best lyrics created in a long time.
That
Trust song, I love that song, man. Listen, right? So Beanie and Buju are legendary, both of them.
All right.
But you only gave me 3, so I gave you my 3.
Dr. Clarke.
Crazy Ballheads is still one of the best songs ever.
Beanie version?
Beanie version.
Yes.
That works.
All right, boys.
Yes, right. Sir. Well, thank you so much.
I know you got to do your wrap up. I don't want to bleed into your wrap up. Let me disappear. And Bennett's meeting his dog, Fitzy. So it's a thing. All right, guys. Thanks, guys.
Dr. Clarke, I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much.
Cheers. Respect, guys. Catch you when I get back. Peace.
All right, man. One love and peace out to the family.
Respect.
Yes.
Everybody thought we were leaving. No, we're still here. Dr. Clarke just had to go. Wait, where's the thing, man? Wait, hang on. Wait, ready?
Oh. Well, look who it is.
Look at that.
Look who it is.
Yeah, it was so good that Dr. Clarke came on. I'm so happy Dr. Clarke came on. So happy that Dr. Clarke came on.
Miss Sylvia, thank you so much. Yeah, man, he was awesome, insightful. How close are you to him in wins in winning the football, fantasy football?
Oh, I'm tied for the most wins in league history, and he's one behind. So, and I'm trying to repeat. I'm trying to do a repeat right now.
How you guys do last night?
Who's that?
Not last night. Sorry.
Sunday night.
Sunday.
Who, the Buffalo Bills? Win. You don't have to ask these questions anymore, man.
That is automatic.
If they don't win, it's because it's like of a godly event or something like that right now, pretty much, when the Bills lose. Some wild shit has to happen for the Bills to lose. Even the touchdown that the guy got when we beat somebody up was like, had to be like the best catch of the year for it to be a touchdown against the Bills. And then we just traded for some people because today's a trade deadline, and now we're better. Better. And we just got our best defensive player back, and we already have the best defense in the league.
All right, so
get out of here, Tadao, man.
The two guys that know how to skew the numbers. Okay.
No, that's not true though. He's in second. He's in second. I'm in first.
Okay.
I would beat down Press still Tadao, so that's another commish. But you know.
That's right. I asked you earlier about manipulating the numbers to make your presentations. Okay.
Oh man, you just do what you do.
Question: how deep can the Eagles go?
Eagles are done, yo. Eagles are out first round of the playoffs. I agree with you, Tadao. Actually, still, we were talking about that today. Eagles are out first round of the playoffs. Done.
Are they doing well right now?
Yeah, they're like undefeated. But they're going to be out first round of the playoffs. TBH. So
they're like Utah Jazz?
Is that who it is? Or Utah Jazz going to win the championship by accident this year?
Imagine. Utah's like, what, they lost one game so far?
Well, they're supposed to be what? Tanking?
They're supposed to be in this is when, like, you know what? This is like what the Raptors did. When they traded Rudy Gay, they got rid of all these people and we're supposed to be in tank mode. And then the Raptors just never lost a game for like a whole year straight after that.
They never lost a game for like 3 seasons, guy. After that.
And the Messiah's like, Kyle Lowry was actually supposed to get traded.
Yeah, he was done.
But he was too fat.
Fat Kyle Lowry, yeah. They wouldn't trade him. Nobody wanted him. Yo, Flint. Big up, Flint. Yo. Good evening, yo.
Remember that? Wow. We were supposed to be a tank team and we ended up winning a championship.
Yeah.
Okay. Put my money on Utah.
Let's go Raptors too, right?
What up, Flint? Yes.
Anything exciting in the world? In your world? In the world?
Well, oh my bro.
Yo.
Bro.
You talked to me about today, right? What's the dude's name?
No, I wasn't really talking, but in the same, you know what, in the same vein.
So okay, crazy, man.
Takeoff that. I wasn't thinking about Takeoff just a while ago.
Over.
I wasn't thinking about him, but then it's kind of the same feeling, right? Yeah. Like who I reacted like this to. Where's this kid named Josh Primo?
Tell me
Josh Primo is a Canadian.
Sounds familiar.
He's a Canadian kid that got drafted 12th last year to the San Antonio Spurs. Right?
Yes.
Promising kid, man. And you know, you just feel good because he's a Canadian kid. So you want good things for a Canadian kid in the league, right? A couple of days ago, I seen that he was potentially going to get waived by the San Antonio Spurs. Right? Then the news came out yesterday why he got waived. Because young man's pulling out his meat in front of people.
Yeah, the world's gone crazy, man.
And I'm like, bruh, like you do all the things that you need to do to make it to the league. All the people that support you, like everything, all the adversity that you've gone through to get to this level in life, and you lose it because like you need to let people know what you're packing. And the organization couldn't take it, and they're like, yo, you gotta go. And I'm like how do you create such a great situation for yourself and lose it? You know, like how do you do these things and then lose it? You know, and then when you said you know, like for instance, I think you were alluding to takeoff, and it just made me think, even that too, like you get to this level in life, and then you find yourself in situations where then you lose it.
But is that the message though? Is that the message?
What are you doing?
Is that the message?
Josh Primo, why are you pulling your penis out in front of the staff members? Like
when you're in the NBA, and why is Takeoff
a multi-millionaire
playing dice?
Sure, play dice with your friends, but like, I mean, why are you ending up in a situation where you're losing your life for a dice game?
But can you fathom? So Fitz, we played dice before. We played dice on my mom's balcony. We played dice at high school.
Yes.
We played dice in SS.
Yes.
And probably played dice, you know, all places in between. You ever think such a thing would happen? You ever think at those times when you're in that situation that could happen?
No, but I've been places where I've played dice, and I said, you know, I'm not gonna play dice here no more because I know this is not gonna end up good. Really? Because I see the energy that's happening around the dice game, and I was like, okay, you know what? This might not be what I need to do here. You know, I mean, when I'm playing with you, when I'm playing with my friends, when I'm playing in school. As I said, I was playing dice in school. I have no worries about
playing dice during math class.
God, I have no worries.
That's why I don't know the square root of 68.
Everybody knows the square root of 68. But yeah, bruh.
No, the world's going wild.
And if I'm playing dice because I'm actually trying to make money. There's no amount of money that he's trying to make.
You want to hit that trips
that you're gonna get that you're trying to get from a dice game. Like he has all the money. He's just playing for fun right now. And if fun is gonna cost you your life, it don't make no sense. And not bungee jumping. Anyways, P-Man, what is this? P-Man says RIP to 153 kids dead in Korea. I didn't hear nothing about this.
It's like at a party or something. Like at a
party?
Like at an
event. You say a volcano.
No, man.
What are you talking about?
I could be wrong. It's a party. Like it was like an event, but everybody. What he's gonna answer, but I forget exactly what it was. But basically, it was like on Halloween, right?
Pill parties.
Don't go to the fucking pill party, man. Yeah, it was like everybody was just like outside, and then bops done some shit like that, man. I don't know what the exact. Hang on, I'm gonna Google it.
Street party trampling. Oh,
yeah.
Oh, right. Oh, man.
Imagine that, yo.
Man.
Yeah.
Oh, like I did hear about this.
Something like that, right? Now you
I
think
didn't
about it.
know the numbers was like that.
Yeah, it was like wild thing, yo.
I didn't know the numbers like that. I thought I heard like 12. Yikes! That's a whole wing of a school. All in their 20s.
Wow. You know what? While I was so tuned into Dr. Clarke, I think we had a hype train earlier in the show. So thank everybody that it was like 2 hours ago. Thank you everybody that contributed to the hype train.
Yes, thank y'all.
Big up to everybody that's up in this piece as well and took the time out. As always, could have been anywhere in the world, but you was here with us at the moment. Oh, look at this. Dane Clarke with an E. Big up. Dane Clarke with an E, sir. Holla, holla, holla. Christy Ray's here as well. What up, cuz?
Where's Dane Clarke with an E?
He's in here, guys. He's in. You gotta scroll up. He's in the community VIP section.
Ah, okay. Okay.
He's not just over in the corner. He's got a table and shit. You know, he's sitting over there. He's got the special thing. He's got security around him and stuff. All right. You know what? We talked about it last week. So how's your where are you on the Kanye meter today, man? How we doing? How's Kanye doing today? We're going in the wrong direction, right direction. He's trending up, trending down.
Kanye.
Pray for Kanye, man.
Kanye's stuck in the same place for me. Like
he didn't move, right? He went one way and then went back the other way.
He's going where he's going, but my Kanye meter is right here. It's not wavering. You know what I mean? And when I say it's not wavering, it means like I'm not liking him anymore. I'm not liking him any less. And I already didn't really like him.
Kanye meter.
You know what I'm saying? So my Kanye meter is unwavering.
Mm-hmm.
Again, like I said, there's things that he says I could rock with. There's things that he says that I'm like, that's dumb. Right? But I'm not going to dismiss everything that he says because of the things that are dumb.
No censoring.
Now, Kanye got it. Oh my God.
Kanye's new boy? Kanye got a new boy.
Kanye got a new boy.
How's that going, you think?
And the thing is, again with him, I didn't like him because of I didn't like him basketball wise. But then when he took his stance for himself, then I liked him. Right? Like I liked the fact that he took his stance.
You know what? I didn't like him either. And I did like the way he did it, kind of, sort of, like 9 times out of 10 type shit in that situation. So I was good with that. Yeah, you're right. I'm with you.
So him taking his stance for what he believed in regards to when we're having the lockdowns and all that stuff, I appreciated him taking his stance and standing by it when it's so easy to waver. Like, you know what I mean? For instance, Andrew Wiggins had the same stance, but Andrew Wiggins, wavered. And I could understand, like, there's multi-millions of dollars to.
I think Kyrie went about that differently than he goes about what he's doing right now, which is why I don't like him no more.
Now, I'm not saying I don't like him.
I don't like him.
Because, again, like, what did he do really other than post a video, post an image of a movie?
So that's the question, I guess.
Right? So now I guess people just need to really watch the movie before they make an opinion, right? Or read the book before they make an opinion. But I know a lot of people are making opinions without reading the book. I have never read it. I have an understanding of the concept, like of the title. I don't know the exact information that's in the book, right? I don't know the exact information or how it was disseminated, but I do understand the concept of what the title says, which the title says from Hebrews to Negroes. I watch a lot of content that deals with that type of stuff. I haven't watched that particular video.
Would you post that?
I don't post that type of stuff. Right?
Fair. No, okay, fair.
Well, you come to my shop, you might get stuck. You might get stuck in a session watching some stuff like that. You know what I mean?
The algorithm might catch you.
Well,
but I mean, what about when I say that? I mean more like. So today I saw Shaq.
Yeah.
You watched Shaq and Charles Barkley?
I didn't watch it today, no.
So we'll watch Shaq and Barkley, and it just happened. Not that I live by what Shaq and Barkley say, right? But they went like they changed their narrative I guess, right?
Peace on Earth came in with the energy.
Peace on Earth. Bill was. So why are you not? I'm not slamming anybody, to be honest.
And he's gonna put. By the way, also Bills suck.
Yeah, in a minute. That's good. But I'm not slamming anybody. What I'm asking is, is it the effort to, because they were on the effort to say you have to be responsible for what you say, right? Yes, you are. You said you hate, but I've always hated Kyrie, so it's not about what he said recently. I don't like the way Kyrie goes about things. So from that perspective, I guess, right? Like when you say you don't post that stuff, is that conscious, or you just don't post that stuff? I guess, right?
That's no, I don't.
Is it a choice, or is it that you just? Was it a choice at some point, kind of, or is it? Do you not do it? I'm sorry, I know you started to answer, but do you not do it because stuff like that?
It's just not the type of stuff that I post, right? Like, it's just not the type of stuff that I post, right? Like, and it's definitely something that I will watch because it's along the lines of type of stuff that I'm interested in. Now, again, when I watch it, I find out if I'm in line with some of the stuff or not. Like, like I watch a lot of stuff and then disseminate
both sides,
discern for myself
what you think,
what I think, right?
Yeah.
Now, like with Kanye, like with now Kyrie, like with I just watched the interview with AB on the what's his name? PITB Valuetainment. Valuetainment has a podcast, right? Pat Bet David or something like that. But anyways, that was if you thought Kanye was a crazy interview, that was a crazy interview. But at the end of it, you listen and then you kind of discern, right? And those three guys right now, like if you just take it for what it is, you're like, yo, these guys are cool. Right. But then when you just take in
all of it,
right? And you take in all of it, then you can kind of like, okay, I see what's happening here. Right? But that Pat Bet David interview with Antonio Brown for the first 40 minutes, it's wild. And even before the podcast starts, he's like, all right, you know what? For the first 40 minutes, it's going to be crazy. You might not want to listen to the rest of it, but do yourself a favor, stick into it.
Yeah.
And at the end, it gets good. And it did. But what I'm saying is like these guys right now, like, okay, long story short, you're free to say what you want. I believe you should be free to say what you want, but you should also understand there's repercussions for the things you say.
1000%.
And that's all there is to it.
So on that, that's why we're here, man. That's why. Sorry, hang on, let me rephrase. That's why we here. It is 11:10. It's almost 11:11, Fitz. So for the next minute or so, once we get to 11:11, it is all on the can't we just all get along? It is all on the be nice to people and do unto others. For one entire minute of good juju. It's 11:11. If you subscribe, you got 11:11 emote. You can just drop 11:11 up in the chat, but ultimately do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Pure good vibes. Big up to all the Clarks them.
Yes.
Simply done, period. Big up to all the Clarks. Thank you, Dr. Clarke, for being on tonight. And thank you, everybody, for being here. Yeah, man.
11:11 in the chat, y'all.
Doing
good energy,
y'all.
Good vibes, good juju.
All about the good juju. Put the good juju everywhere. I gotta wait. Hang on. Watch what happens at 11:12 fits. Put the juju. Put the good juju everywhere. That's what she said. I had to wait till 11:12 to say that. We had to get one in. That would have been the end of the streak. But oh lordy lord.
Well, Smitty Jones asks, "What you sipping on?"
Almost missed it, Miss Sylvia. Almost missed it.
Today I am sipping on what you call a Riesling, and I've just been on these Rieslings recently since we've been with Beverly Crandon, because she spoke about the Rieslings. Last week I had a Riesling from Ontario, from a Flat Rock company. Rieslings are mostly from Germany. So I said, let me try a German Riesling today. And this one is called Relax. It's a Relax Riesling. So that is what I am sipping on today. I'm feeling groovy. Yes, I is.
Oh man, that's wild.
Yes. So, like we said, with those guys, I believe everybody should have the freedom to say whatever it is that they want to say, considering freedom of speech is a thing, but also understand that there are consequences and repercussions for the things you say. And if you want to say what you want to say, be ready to accept the consequences, whether they be good, whether they be bad. But what I say is Spicy P for president.
You should have went for MVP. I tried again. Spicy P. No. Listen. Spicy P for MVP.
Clip out of your mouth. That's not going anywhere. That is here forever. I don't even need you to repeat it. Those are the words out of your mouth. Spicy P for MVP. You make it sound so good. I know you feel bad you said that.
No, man.
Okay. I'm changing that to my ringtone. Okay. That is my new ringtone. TdotHotShot saying Spicy P for MVP. And it sounded so very authentic and genuine.
Oh, man.
Everybody, thank you for joining Pizza in the Break Room. We appreciate you. That was episode 68. Oh, Hellraiser. Yeah. Tupac Shakur. I love that one.
Well, this one. How about that?
And Sean Elliott and E.T.
Sean Elliott and E.T. guys. All right. Bagazi. Big up Bagazi. All right, where are we going? Star Q's playing. All right, that's my job, right? All right? Hang on, please hold.
Back to get wrecked. All respect for those who break their neck to keep it in check. Sweater brother majorly. I don't know why the girl keep paging me.
Tell me that she need me. Rise when she leave me. And every time she sees me, she squeeze me.
Baby, take it easy.
Hate to sound sleazy, but tease me. I don't want to hit the sound.
Easy.
Hey, yo, buster. Baby got a problem saying bye-bye. Just another hazard of a fly guy. Yeah, that's why it don't matter. Pockets got fatter. And everybody's looking for the better.
All right, y'all. Peace in the Break Room, episode 68. TdotHotShot and Couture J brought it.
Happy Tuesday, everybody.
One time.
Hope you enjoyed your time up in this piece. Come again. Wait. We can do it. We never do that promo. Like Friday, 7:45 a.m. Cold pizza.
That's right. Cold pizza. See you in the morning. Friday morning, 7:45.
Big up
Get
to the
your
folks.
day started with TdotHotShot and Couture J and cold pizza.
Bum, 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 bum. All right, man. Ready?
Yes, sir.
Night, everybody.
One time.